1st, 1600 hours. Oh, it's 2025 in case you're wondering. 1600 hours Eastern Standard Time. And today we have some music. We are going to do something a little bit different today. Last time I left off, we were working on the cryptocurrency trading bot, and I do have an update for you on that, but I have not made tremendous progress. So to give a bit more of a show here today, I want to show you some open source audio techniques on Linux. We can broadcast music live here using the setup that I've been putting together, and I will show you how some of that is done. Some of the preliminary infrastructure, such as Owncast, and the stuff for deploying Owncast has been discussed in previous streams, so feel free to check that out there. And as usual, I will mention that the chat is hosted on Matrix. You can find a link for that on the Owncast website, and subsequently discussions will be hosted on Discourse. All the links are available. So, I want to take a timestamp of this very beginning here. We've only been on for 127, and let's talk about the Kraken bot. So, last time we left off with deploying the Kraken bot into Kubernetes. We had set up some logging in Matrix. It was supposed to post messages into this Matrix chat telling me what it was doing, and as you might be able to see here, it did not do that. Let's go ahead and look at, pull up the right thing here. We'll go ahead and look at the Kubernetes interface here. Make that nice and big for you folks, you blindies. And let's see. Yep, that's the one. We're going to look at our pods. What we'll see are that there are no pods. We do have a Kraken namespace. Let's see. We can see our Kraken namespace has been deployed. We deployed it 6 days, 23 hours ago. And if we look at cron job, we can see that the cron job is present. It is scheduled correctly. It is not suspended. Last schedule was 21 hours ago. It should be executing. But when I look for pods, nothing appears. And when I do the pods-w, which is to watch it, it'll remain pending. And if any changes happen to that command, it will update the output. But even doing this and just leaving it all day, nothing comes up. So it doesn't look like this is running, and I have not done a whole lot to debug this. That's okay. We will leave that for another time, and I am going to make note of all of this in a ticket. We'll go over to our Kraken bot. Let me make this big. We're going to create an issue, and what's it going to be called? What should we call this? It's not working in Kubernetes. It's not deploying. It's not posting messages. What's it not doing? It's not executing any trades. We can go onto the Kraken homepage, and we can see that it has not executed any trades. But specifically, what is it not doing, and why is this not loading? Not sure I care about that. Anyway. Not working. Kraken bot is not posting log messages to Matrix and is not executing trades. I'm going to assign this to myself. I am going to put it on our project. I think we should put it on the milestone. I still haven't worked out whether I should use one of these, both of these, or the other. Whatever, I'm not sure. But anyway, we're just making a note of this. I'll flesh this out later when I'm not on a live stream because it's a little bit boring to watch. But I just wanted to show you kind of the process here. It doesn't necessarily matter that I haven't made code changes just yet. there's something wrong, so I'll just make a note of it, and whenever I have the opportunity to work on this, I can just pick up where I left off here. But that is not going to be today. Today we're going to be talking about music and audio. So let me get out of this. Let me get out of this. I want to make this small again because I'm going to move this out of the way. And let's take another timestamp. Okay, let's talk about audio on Linux. So there are two main drivers for audio on Linux, Jack and ALSA. ALSA, I'm not going to go too much into details about the details of each one, mainly because I don't necessarily know. It's not super important. ALSA is a bit older. Jack is newer and has more features. That's pretty much what we need to know. You'll end up using ALSA and Jack together sometimes. In fact, I'm using both together here, and I will show you how and why in a second. The first program you're going to interact with if you're going to do professional audio on Linux is going to be QJackCtl, and I can pull that up over here. Now, usually I'm able to make things a lot bigger on this screen and zoom in and show you. That's not necessarily the case with some of these programs that I'm about to show, so if you're watching this on a phone, that might be pretty difficult to read. On a computer, you should be able to see, though. Anyway, QJackCtl, when we start it up, it's going to give us this tiny little guy here. This is just the basic Jack server. ALSA kind of starts on its own in the background by default, whereas Jack does not necessarily do that. I think you can set it up so that it does boot by default and is used as the default audio setup. I just have not done that here. By the way, this is Debian Linux, just Debian Bookworm, Debian 12 standard. Anyway, this does not start up by default, at least on my system, so I need to launch this QJackCtl program, which looks like this. And then I will click this green arrow here for start. I've already done that, so I'm not going to need to do it again, but I will start the Jack server like that. And that's going to give us the basic tools to start connecting things between these audio programs. Let me just pull up the graph and it'll be kind of obvious what I'm talking about. So this is a graph that comes with QJackCtl. If you click graph down here at the left, it pulls up this. And you can think of this as little audio cables that are plugging in software applications to one another. So let me zoom in on this one. That I can do. We can make this full screen. That's nice. Okay. So I have had to set up a little bit here just to get us started. So you are hearing me speak through this microphone, and you heard me earlier. Not very good, but you heard me playing a keyboard. I'll talk about that a little bit more. That was all set up through this. You have the basic system, which is just kind of your audio devices. I am running a AudioBox USB audio interface. Let me show you one of those so you know what I'm talking about. It's a very small thing that sits on my desk and connects to my desktop using a USB cable. It looks like this. I don't think zooming in is going to help. In fact, it made it worse. So this microphone right here in front of me has this cable coming out of it, and it goes onto that USB, AudioBox USB on my desk. And that AudioBox USB is plugged in via USB to the computer that's sitting right there. And we can see that system here is referring to the Jack system, my computer, Linux sort of stuff. And we can see that I have an AudioBox USB plugged in. I also have my Roland digital piano, which is this guy, plugged in by USB to that. Ideally, I would have this keyboard plugged in via a MIDI cable to the AudioBox USB. It would give better latency, better quality. But this keyboard does not have a MIDI output, so I just plugged it in via a USB A to B, I think those are. It's the big fat one that usually goes on the back of a printer. But anyway, I plug the keyboard into the computer as well. So that is part of the system. So we have the audio box USB, we have the Roland digital piano. Capture 1 and Capture 2 are referring to Capture 1 and Capture 2 on the audio box USB. I'm not sure why they're separated like this. They just are. Anyway, so what I have to do is let's ignore the keyboard for right now. The keyboard is going up here. We're going to talk about that in a second. And the same thing, well, we don't need to ignore this. We'll talk about this. So over here, these are our inputs and these are our outputs. So we have system over here again. This is the jack audio system. You can see at the top left. It's still pretty small. Maybe I can zoom in more. So jack audio system up here, jack audio system up here. These are our inputs, these are our outputs, and basically we're just going to connect these imaginary cables from one to another. Important for the OBS stream right here, I'm going to briefly show you OBS because it kills the frame rate to do that infinite mirror stuff, but this guy right here, I have this jack audio input client. That is this right there, this guy right here. So once I added this audio source into OBS, so like this audio source, add audio capture device, we could see there's ALSA there. Where is jack input client? So that creates that guy over there on the graph. And then anything that I connect from the input into the output of this will be broadcast over the stream. So we can see, well, I guess this is a good time to go into what this guy is. Let me briefly take a timestamp here. I missed a timestamp. Oh no. I guess I'll have to figure out what to do with that. But anyway, this guy up here, ZynAddSubFX. What's interesting about doing all this audio stuff on Linux and with Jack here specifically is that all of the audio software that I can download can be connected together. So it's not super clear when I'm just connecting my microphone into OBS. But I can run another application. I'll show it to you here. This one I cannot zoom in on, so I apologize for that. ZynAddSubFX. So ZynAddSubFX is it's a synthesizer, and I'm just using it in a very basic format. In fact, I just took the main instrument and reduced our sustain value to exactly 100. So actually, my keyboard is playing a pure sine wave. We can do a lot more with that. We're not going to get into that so much right now, but anyway, this is the synthesizer that is creating the sound for my keyboard, and once I launch that application, it shows up here in the QJackCtl graph. And then I just need to do the same thing where I connect my inputs and outputs. So first, I connect the Roland digital piano on the system to the MIDI input of ZynAddSubFX. And then the output of ZynAddSubFX, first I connect to the playback of my computer so I can hear it on these speakers. And then I also connect it to the jack input client for OBS. That's how you hear it. So when I play something, not super pretty really, but I'm just improvising. Something like that. That is how you are hearing it. So our system, our Roland digital piano, when I play those keys, it goes into the input for ZynAddSubFX, which is creating that sine wave that I was talking about. And that sine wave gets output to the speakers on my computer as well as OBS so that you can hear it. And this gives us live broadcasting of whatever I'm playing on my piano, which is pretty fun. But we can do this with more than just the keyboard. So let's see. Timestamp time. Another one is called Guitarix. So I think I might have to set some more stuff up for this one. We'll see. Oh, it's already set up. Fortunately, that one was remembered. This is Guitarix. This is similar to ZynAddSubFX in that it's kind of like a synthesizer. It's going to take digital input to my computer and turn it into a synthesized sound. It's just that that synthesized sound is a guitar amplifier. Not going to go too much into the settings I have here, but you can pretty much simulate any guitar amplifier in the world, and it sounds pretty realistic. We can look at what happened when I opened that, in that this guitar GX amp head, whatever, and the effects, those both opened up. We don't need to talk too much about the inner workings of Guitarix right now to see that what I have done is connected capture 2 of my audio box USB, to which my guitar is plugged in. Connecting that to the input of the Guitarix amp head. The output of the head goes into the input of the Guitarix effects, and then the left and right output go to the left and right playback of the system. So I will hear it on my speakers. But you won't hear it just yet because it is not connected to the jack input client of OBS. So I will do that right now. I'm going to connect output 0 to input 1, and I'm going to connect output 1 to input 2. Okay. And now we'll try out a guitar, and we'll see if we can live stream some guitar. I should have tuned it. I'm going to take this off. We're not going to do a whole concert here just yet. And hopefully that sounded pretty decent on your end, actually, and not like total garbage. I'm going to have to take a look at the recording later and see if that was total garbage. If it is, then this will be probably a terrible video to take advice from, but I don't think it did. Probably sounded decent, at least. So this is all well and good for broadcasting live, but if we want to record, there is additional software. I can see that there has been some clipping on the audio, so if that was way too loud, I apologize for that. This is kind of experimental. I've not done this before, actually. This is live. So anyway, the next piece of software I want to show you is called Ardour, and we need a timestamp. Okay, when I start Ardour, it asks me, I don't know how to pronounce that, Ardour. I'm just going to create a new session. Just empty template, and we can see it already pops up with some stuff in the graph. Here is the main window for Ardour. I don't know if I can zoom in. I cannot. This probably looks hideous on stream. Apologize. Can I like controls? Yes, that probably looks better at least. Let's move it. All right, that's probably tolerable at the very least. All those lines. Anyway, if you're not familiar with a digital audio workstation, this is an open source digital audio workstation. I suppose that doesn't help. if you're not familiar with the digital audio workstation, it's basically a computer program that lets you create multiple audio tracks. So I can add a MIDI track here. I can add another audio track. If you're looking at this video, you probably know what this sort of thing is. Ardour is the open source one. Most of them are proprietary, but this one is totally free to download and runs on Linux. I don't know about Windows or Mac OS. Probably does work on Mac. No idea about Windows. Anyway, so we can use this to create multi-track audio performances, recordings, anything like that. And we can see over in QJackCtl graph, things have gotten out of hand here. This looks terrible. Let's try and fix this a bit. This is not, in my opinion, an ideal interface for anything. This kind of GUI stuff, it does not tickle my fancy, but we're gonna have to make do with what we got here. I don't know if this is salvageable, honestly. We have to like pull this way down here. Let's get this guy all the way up here. That's okay. You know, I guess that's fine. What is even happening on this? Look at this. It's like the mass. Okay, I guess adding those extra instruments have made things difficult. Let's take those out and get a cleaner look at this. Yes, remove it. Remove. It doesn't like that, so we won't do that one. That's better. Okay, so what do we have here? It's taking MIDI through, but I don't have anything connected to MIDI through as far as I know, and going to a MIDI input monitor. I don't think that's doing anything. Audio box, yeah, both of these, that would make more sense if I had a MIDI keyboard plugged into the audio box USB via a MIDI cable, but I do not, so I don't know what that's about. The Roland digital piano also has been attached to this input. I don't know what that input is doing, so let's ignore those. Capture 1 and Capture 2 have been also to a monitor. Okay, these are just monitors for things, so not super interesting there. We have a bunch of output stuff though. These two seem important. The master out, going to playback 1 and 2. A click track, that makes sense, going to playback 1 and 2. That's for a metronome, if you're going to use that. Yeah, I don't really know what these other things are, and we don't care. So let's just move on. What I can do, let's add a MIDI track here, and I don't want to use their synth. I want to use no synth. We'll just add and close, and I'm going to put that over there, and I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so what I am trying to do is simultaneously record in MIDI what I am playing on the keyboard while also broadcasting it live to you. And I don't know if I can do that, so this is going to be interesting. What I want first is to get this guy over here to light up, and this little meter here should start turning green once I start playing notes. So let's see. We can do inputs, and looks like we've got that, and it created a line over here from the Roland digital piano to this, the MIDI in, and virtual keyboard is connected over here. Let's undo that so we can watch that happen again. Where'd it go? Inputs. We don't want that one. Okay, so that's the connection that it's making. And once I've done that, we're getting a response over here. And I can see that you still hear it, but it's clipping a little bit. Sorry if this is way too loud. So what I want to do, we have to zoom out here. I'm gonna go all the way to the beginning. I'm going to record. I'm going to record. And I am going to play a thing. It's probably not going to be, maybe I should just do Beethoven. Let's do that. Mistakes. Anyway, we can stop. So you should have been able to hear that live with some decent quality, and at the same time we get this MIDI, which I should be able to open up and see with more detail somehow. It might not be so easy to do that, but let's see. Can it play anything? I don't think you'll be able to hear it if I do a playback. No, can't hear anything. If you're looking on a computer, you can probably see the lines. It would be useful if I could make this play something. So let's see. Can we put the output? Yeah, I bet we can do this. I'm going to put the output of this to the input of this, and let's see if that plays something. I'm going to keep my hands away from the keyboards. Whoops. I don't think we hear anything. No. Wait. I don't hear anything. I don't know if you heard anything. Not that. I bet this would do it. MIDI out. Connect that. I hear it. I'm not playing it, but I hear it. That's Moonlight Sonata, the third movement, by the way. I've been working on that. Okay, so there we go. We have recorded the MIDI onto Ardour, and we can play that back through the computer. We can broadcast our playing live, and we can do all of those fun things. So let me take a timestamp here. It doesn't look like I have another one planned, but we will do it anyway. Okay, so that's kind of a basic introduction into broadcasting open source audio using Linux. I don't know if that's the best way to phrase that sentence, but that's okay. Last thing I want to show you here is, let's output this. I just want to save the MIDI. Let's just save this MIDI track. I want to, can I save just the MIDI? Export. Let's save it. Yep, that works. Save it there. Okay, so now I have a MIDI file. Let me open it. This MIDI file. I can upload this to MinIO, which is a service I've talked about in the past. It is the one that I am using in conjunction with Discourse here. If we open up this post, this is last week's live stream, and I have uploaded that video onto Discourse, or excuse me, I've uploaded that video to MinIO on my own servers, and then I link to it in a Discourse post. And I can do the same thing with audio here. I can take this MIDI file, or a WAV file, or an MP4. MP4 is probably going to work best since it's the web standard format. Oh, I thought I closed OBS for a second. I got scared. Anyway, so where was I? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, I can output these audio files and make those available to you as well for download. And I'm thinking that I may try to work in some kind of musical live stream into the schedule. I have been doing this Saturday at 4 Eastern Standard Time live stream for about 5-6 weeks now. Been pretty consistent. Pat myself on the back for that. Woohoo. It's been fun. So I may try to work in another one to, I don't know exactly what I would do, just play music, practice music. We'll see. I especially would be interested to get some feedback on that from you. You can leave any thoughts on that in the comments, either on YouTube, on Discourse, where I just showed you, or anywhere else you see fit. I think that is about all that I have for you today, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for joining me. Toodaloo.